Some requests seem harmless, but trust me, they're not. A single favor can reveal whether someone respects your boundaries or sees you as an easy target. It's often the first sign of manipulation, control, or hidden agendas. And today, these 5 requests that should make you think twice before saying yes. They might sound normal, but they can lead to toxic relationships, financial loss, and even emotional exhaustion. So stick till the end so that you don't fall into the wrong circle. Have you ever felt uneasy when someone asked you for something? Maybe you couldn't explain why, but deep down something felt off. That feeling isn't random. It's your instincts picking up on something your mind hasn't fully processed yet. The truth is, not every request is as innocent as it seems. Some people test the waters with small asks, seeing how far they can push before you resist. It starts with something simple, a favor, a bit of help, or a little extra time. But once you say yes, the requests don't stop. They keep coming, getting bigger each time. Before you know it, you're stuck in a pattern of giving while they take more and more. This is how manipulation begins, not with outright demands, but with small, seemingly harmless requests that gradually wear down your boundaries. The problem is, when you finally realize what's happening, it's often too late. You're already emotionally invested, feeling obligated to keep helping because you've done so much already. Some people don't ask for help because they need it. They ask to test your limits. They want to see how much you're willing to give and how easily you can be influenced. These individuals are not interested in mutual respect. They are interested in control. At first, it may not be obvious. They might frame their requests as emergencies, making you feel like you're the only one who can help them. They may even make you feel guilty for hesitating. But over time, a pattern emerges. You start to notice that they only reach out when they need something. They never offer help in return, and they don't seem to appreciate your efforts. Instead, they expect it. The moment you try to say no, they react with disappointment, frustration, or even anger. That's when you realize they were never really asking. They were demanding, disguised as a favor. If you feel drained, frustrated, or resentful after agreeing to help someone, that's a sign that the request wasn't fair to begin with. Healthy relationships are built on balance. If you give, you should also receive. But when one person keeps taking without giving back, that's not a friendship. It's an arrangement that benefits only them. The real danger of these small requests is how they slowly erode your ability to say no. The more you agree to, the harder it becomes to push back. It's not just about the time or energy you spend, it's about the expectations that are being set. When you always say yes, people start to assume you'll never say no. And once they see you as someone who always gives in, they stop respecting your boundaries altogether. The best way to break this cycle is to recognize it early. Pay attention to how you feel when someone asks for something. If a request makes you uncomfortable, trust that feeling. You don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your time and energy. Saying no doesn't make you selfish, it makes you aware. And the more aware you become, the less likely you are to be taken advantage of. Not all requests involve favors or tasks. Some people ask for something much more valuable, your personal information. At first, it seems like harmless curiosity. Someone wants to know more about you, asking deep personal questions right away. They might ask about your past relationships, your fears, your family history, or even your financial situation. It may feel flattering that they are so interested, but why do they need to know all this so soon? What are they really looking for? The truth is, not everyone who asks about your life has good intentions. Some people collect information as a way to gain control. The more they know about you, the more they can influence your emotions and decisions. It's a subtle but dangerous form of manipulation. They listen closely, not because they care, but because they are taking mental notes. And once they have enough details, they can use them to shape the way you think, feel, and act. Imagine telling someone about a painful breakup from your past. Later, they might use that knowledge to make you feel insecure, hinting that you need them because they understand you better than anyone else. If you mention financial struggles, they might find a way to make you feel dependent on their support. If you open up about family problems, they might use that to isolate you, making you feel like they are the only person who truly understands you. The scariest part is that this doesn't happen all at once. It happens slowly, over time, as they gain more and more information about you. By the time you realize what's going on, you might already feel emotionally trapped. This is especially common in toxic relationships, both romantic and professional. Some people pretend to be deeply invested in your life, but in reality, they are just gathering leverage. The easiest way to protect yourself from this kind of manipulation is to control the pace of what you share. Real connections take time. Trust isn't built in a single conversation. It develops over months and years. If someone is pushing you to open up too quickly, take a step back. Pay attention to how they react if you don't give them the answers they want. If they respect your boundaries, they will let the conversation flow naturally. But if they keep pressing, it's a sign that they are more interested in gathering information than in truly getting to know you. Another red flag is when someone dumps their own trauma on you right away. This is called trauma dumping, a tactic where someone shares deep emotional stories early on to make you feel obligated to share in return. They create an illusion of trust, making you feel like you have to match their level of openness. But real trust isn't built on forced sharing, it's built on mutual respect. If someone truly values you, they will give you the space to open up when you are ready, not when they decide you should. The most dangerous request of all is the one that many people overlook, the demand for blind trust. It sounds simple. Someone tells you, "Just trust me." Don't ask questions. They might phrase it differently, but the message is always the same. Stop thinking. Just go along with what I say. At first, it might not seem like a big deal. Maybe it's a friend asking you to believe their side of a story without explanation. Maybe it's a boss asking you to follow instructions without questioning why. Maybe it's a partner telling you not to doubt them, even when something doesn't feel right. Whatever the situation, the underlying message is clear: don't think for yourself. This is one of the biggest red flags in any relationship. Trust should never be demanded. It should be earned. When someone tells you not to ask questions, they are asking for control. They don't want you to think too hard about what's happening, because if you did, you might start seeing the truth. This kind of manipulation is common in toxic workplaces, abusive relationships, and even among so-called friends. The moment you stop questioning, you give away your power. You become easier to control, easier to mislead, and easier to exploit. The people who use this tactic often discourage any kind of independent thinking. They make you feel guilty for wanting clarity. They tell you that you are being difficult, that you are overthinking, that you are ruining the relationship by not just going along with what they say. But the truth is, people who genuinely have your best interests at heart will never be afraid of your questions. They will welcome your curiosity. They will explain things to you because they respect your intelligence and your right to understand the choices you are making. If you ever find yourself in a situation where someone is pressuring you to follow along without explanation, stop and ask yourself why. Why don't they want you to think? What are they afraid you will figure out? Real trust isn't about blind loyalty. It's about knowing that the person you trust has nothing to hide. It's about feeling safe to ask questions without fear of anger or retaliation. The next time someone tells you to just trust them, don't ignore that warning sign. Trust should always be built on honesty, transparency, and respect. If those things aren't there, then what they're asking for isn't trust, it's obedience. and that is something no one should ever have to give. Money is a sensitive topic, yet some people have no hesitation in asking for financial assistance. They might frame their request casually or disguise it as an emergency, but the reality is that anyone asking for financial help too soon should raise a red flag. Why would someone feel comfortable making such a request if they barely know you? And more importantly, why do they think you should be responsible for their financial issues? At first, it may seem harmless. Maybe they ask for a small amount, just a little help to get through a tough time. They might present it as a loan, a temporary need, or even a way for you to prove that you care. But be careful, this is often just the beginning. Some people test your willingness to give. They start small just to see how you respond. If you agree, they feel emboldened to ask for more. Over time, the requests grow, sometimes in frequency, sometimes in size. Before you realize it, you become their safety net, their backup plan, their personal bank. This type of behavior is common in one-sided relationships, whether romantic, familial, or even friendships. The pattern is always the same. They create a sense of urgency, appeal to your kindness, and make you feel like helping them is the right thing to do. But the moment you say no, their attitude changes. Suddenly, you're selfish. Suddenly, they are the victim. And suddenly, you find yourself feeling guilty for simply protecting what is yours. There is a key difference between someone in genuine need and someone who is taking advantage of your kindness. A person who truly respects you will not feel entitled to your money. They will not pressure you, guilt-trip you, or make you feel bad for setting boundaries. But someone with ulterior motives will use emotional manipulation to get what they want. One common trick is playing on your emotions. They might tell a heartbreaking story, bringing up their struggles in a way that makes it difficult for you to refuse. They may even remind you of a time when they helped you in some way, no matter how small, making you feel obligated to return the favor. The goal is to create a sense of obligation, one where saying no feels like a betrayal. Another warning sign is when the requests keep coming with no effort on their part to improve their situation. They may promise to pay you back, but always have an excuse when the time comes. They may say, just this once, yet a few weeks later, they need help again. This cycle continues because they have found someone who enables their behavior, someone they can rely on without consequences. So, how do you protect yourself? The answer is simple. Set clear financial boundaries. If someone asks for money and you feel uncomfortable, trust that feeling. You do not owe anyone an explanation for saying no. A true friend, partner, or family member will respect your decision without question. Another way to test someone's intentions is by offering a non-monetary solution. If they claim to need money for food, offer to buy them groceries instead. If they say they need help with rent, suggest resources that could assist them. Watch how they react. If they genuinely need help, they will appreciate the gesture. But if they become irritated or dismissive, it is a sign that they were not looking for a solution, they were looking for easy money. Not all requests are innocent. Some are designed to test your limits, push your boundaries, and see how far you are willing to go. At first, these favors might seem small, almost insignificant. Maybe they ask you to cover for them when they make a mistake. Maybe they pressure you to lie on their behalf or look the other way when they do something questionable. But once you say yes, the line shifts. What started as a minor favor can quickly escalate into something that makes you uncomfortable, or worse, something that puts you at risk. This kind of manipulation is common in both personal and professional relationships. Some people disguise their requests as a sign of trust. If you really care about me, you'll do this. Others make it seem like a simple obligation. I would do the same for you. But the real question is, would they? And more importantly, Should you? A key warning sign is when a request makes you hesitate. Your instincts react before your mind does. Maybe your gut tells you something feels wrong. Maybe your conscience warns you that this is not who you are. Yet instead of respecting your hesitation, the person pushes harder. They dismiss your concerns, tell you that you're overthinking it, or make you feel guilty for even questioning them. That is when you know they do not care about your values. They care about what they can get from you. The danger of these requests is that they don't just test your boundaries, they reshape them. The more you agree to, the harder it becomes to say no. The more you compromise, the easier it is to be manipulated into doing things you never thought you would. It's a slow process, and before you know it, you find yourself making choices that go against your morals just to keep the peace. The best way to protect yourself is to recognize these situations early. If a request makes you uncomfortable, that's your signal to step back. Ask yourself, if I say yes now, what else might they ask for later? Would I be okay with this if the roles were reversed? A true friend, partner, or colleague will never pressure you to go against your values. They will respect your boundaries and accept your decision without resistance. But if someone reacts with frustration, anger, or guilt-tripping when you refuse, that's a clear sign that their request was never about trust. It was about control. The most dangerous request of all is the one that many people overlook, the demand for blind trust. It sounds simple. Someone tells you, just trust me. Don't ask questions. They might phrase it differently, but the message is always the same. Stop thinking. Just go along with what I say. At first, it might not seem like a big deal. Maybe it's a friend asking you to believe their side of a story without explanation. Maybe it's a boss asking you to follow instructions without questioning why. Maybe it's a partner telling you not to doubt them, even when something doesn't feel right. Whatever the situation, the underlying message is clear. Don't think for yourself. This is one of the biggest red flags in any relationship. Trust should never be demanded. It should be earned. When someone tells you not to ask questions, they are asking for control. They don't want you to think too hard about what's happening, because if you did, you might start seeing the truth. This kind of manipulation is common in toxic workplaces, abusive relationships, and even among so-called friends. The moment you stop questioning, you give away your power. You become easier to control, easier to mislead, and easier to exploit. The people who use this tactic often discourage any kind of independent thinking. They make you feel guilty for wanting clarity. They tell you that you are being difficult, that you are overthinking, that you are ruining the relationship by not just going along with what they say. But the truth is, people who genuinely have your best interests at heart will never be afraid of your questions. They will welcome your curiosity. They will explain things to you because they respect your intelligence and your right to understand the choices you are making. One of the biggest red flags in any relationship, whether it is a friendship, family connection, or romantic partnership, is when someone refuses to respect your personal space. Some people believe they are entitled to your time, attention, and even physical presence without asking. At first, it may seem harmless. Maybe they show up uninvited, call constantly, or insist on being involved in everything you do. They might claim it is just because they care about you or enjoy your company, but over time, their behavior becomes suffocating. It starts to feel like they do not see you as an individual with your own needs, but rather as someone who must always be available for them. They expect access to your life without limits, and if you try to set boundaries, they react negatively, acting hurt, making you feel guilty, or even becoming angry. This kind of behavior is a serious issue because it slowly takes away your independence. Instead of having space to breathe, you feel trapped in a relationship where your needs are always second to theirs. A key sign of this problem is when someone refuses to take no as an answer. If you say you need time alone, they make you feel guilty for it. If you decline an invitation, they demand a reason, as if your decision is not valid on its own. They may try to make you feel selfish, asking, "Why are you being distant?" Or, "Do you not care about me anymore?" This emotional pressure is a form of manipulation. It makes you question yourself and pushes you into prioritizing their feelings over your own well-being. But the truth is, needing time to yourself does not mean you care any less about them. It simply means you are a person with your own limits and responsibilities. Someone who truly values you will understand this. They will not pressure you into interactions when you clearly need space. Instead, they will respect your boundaries because they recognize that a healthy relationship is built on mutual understanding, not forced closeness. What makes this behavior even more concerning is that over time, it tends to escalate. If they feel you are pulling away, they might increase their efforts to control your availability. They may start showing up at your home or workplace unannounced, calling or texting excessively, or even monitoring what you do. They might phrase it as concern, saying things like, "I was just worried about you," or "I wanted to check in." But in reality, what they are doing is asserting control over your time and presence. This kind of behavior is emotionally exhausting. It can make you feel like you are constantly on edge, never truly free to make your own choices without facing guilt or pushback. The best way to handle this situation is by setting firm boundaries. Instead of explaining yourself, simply state your needs clearly and consistently. Let them know when you are available and when you are not. If they continue to ignore your boundaries, it is a strong sign that they do not respect you as an individual. Before we move on to another troubling behavior, people who use guilt to control you, let us take a deeper look at why respecting personal space is one of the most important signs of a healthy relationship. Before we get into it, if you're someone who's going through a relatable phase, do comment relationship. Many people struggle with setting boundaries because they fear being seen as selfish or unkind. But in reality, having clear boundaries is not only healthy, it is essential for emotional well-being. When you allow people to overstep your limits, you gradually lose control over your own life. You end up feeling drained, resentful, and stretched too thin simply because you are trying to keep others happy. The truth is, boundaries are not about shutting people out. They are about protecting your energy, time, and mental peace. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, and if someone gets upset when you enforce a boundary, it is often a sign that they benefited from your lack of one. One major reason people avoid setting boundaries is guilt. They feel bad saying no to friends, family, or colleagues, especially if the request seems small. But saying yes when you really mean no only leads to exhaustion. Every time you agree to something you do not want to do, you are sacrificing a piece of yourself. Over time, this leads to burnout and frustration. The best way to overcome this is by understanding that you do not owe anyone unlimited access to your time or resources. Your life is yours to manage, and it is okay to prioritize your own needs. If someone truly values you, they will respect your limits rather than make you feel guilty for having them. Another challenge with setting boundaries is dealing with people who do not take them seriously. Some individuals see boundaries as obstacles they need to push through rather than as expressions of self-respect. They test limits, dismiss your feelings, and make excuses to justify their overstepping. The best way to handle this is through firm and consistent communication. Instead of explaining or defending your decisions, simply state them clearly. If someone repeatedly ignores your boundaries, it is a sign that they do not respect you. At that point, it is worth reconsidering how much access they should have to your life. Boundaries are not about keeping people away. They are about ensuring that the right people stay close while the wrong ones stay at a healthy distance. Before we talk about the dangers of controlling behavior, let us focus on something that many people overlook: those who seek access to your personal resources for their own benefit. Some individuals enter your life not because they genuinely care about you, but because they see you as a gateway to something they want. These people are not interested in building real relationships. Instead, they view connections as stepping stones to their personal goals. They may be after your professional network, financial resources, or even the social influence you hold. At first, their requests may seem minor, asking for an introduction to someone you know, borrowing a valuable item, or using your platform for exposure. But over time, these favors increase, and you begin to realize that they were never truly invested in you, only in what you could provide. A major red flag is when someone asks for favors too soon. If a person you barely know is already requesting access to your contacts, expertise, or resources, it is a sign that they may not have pure intentions. They often disguise their requests as opportunities, saying things like, "This will benefit both of us," when in reality, it mostly benefits them. Others may try emotional manipulation, making you feel obligated to help. They might say, "If you really support me, you will do this for me," creating pressure to say yes. But true support is not about granting unlimited access to your life. It is about mutual respect. Another warning sign is that these individuals only reach out when they need something. Pay attention to their patterns. Do they check in on you just to see how you're doing? Do they celebrate your achievements, or do they only appear when they need a favor? Real friendships and relationships are built on reciprocity. If someone only contacts you for introductions, financial help, or shortcuts, they are using you as a resource rather than valuing you as a person. Protecting your time, network, and assets does not make you selfish, it makes you wise. The right people will respect your boundaries, while the wrong ones will try to push past them. The best way to deal with these individuals is to set firm boundaries. If a request feels purely transactional, test it by saying no and observing their reaction. If they respect your decision, they may have had good intentions. But if they become distant, upset, or try to guilt trip you, then it is clear they never valued you, only what you could provide. Before we move on to the last and most overlooked red flag, those who try to control your decisions, let us take a deeper look at why protecting your resources is about more than just saying no. It is about surrounding yourself with people who truly respect and appreciate you. One of the most dangerous red flags in any relationship is when someone tries to control your decisions. This behavior often starts subtly, offering strong opinions about what you should do, pressuring you into choices that suit them, or dismissing your feelings when you disagree. But over time, it escalates. They may criticize your choices, undermine your confidence, or even make decisions on your behalf without your consent. The goal of controlling behavior is not to help you, it is to take away your autonomy and make you dependent on their approval. A common tactic used by controlling individuals is making you doubt your own judgment. They might say, "Are you sure that is the right choice?" Or, "I know what is best for you." At first, this can seem like concern, but in reality, it is an attempt to manipulate your decision-making process. Over time, this can lead to a loss of confidence, where you start questioning your own ability to make choices. The more you rely on their input, the more control they gain over your life. In healthy relationships, people respect each other's decisions, even if they do not always agree with them. They offer advice without forcing their opinions, allowing you to make choices that align with your values and priorities. Another way controlling individuals operate is through emotional punishment. If you make a choice they do not like, They may react with anger, withdrawal, or passive-aggressive behavior. They want you to feel guilty for not doing what they wanted, hoping that next time you will prioritize their preferences over your own. This can be especially damaging in close relationships, where the fear of upsetting someone can lead to a pattern of constant self-sacrifice. But the reality is, a person who truly cares about you will not try to control your life. They will respect your right to make decisions, even if they would have chosen differently. The best way to deal with controlling behavior is to assert your independence. Make it clear that while you value their input, the final decision is yours. If they continue to pressure or manipulate you, recognize it as a red flag. A healthy relationship is one where both individuals have the freedom to make choices without fear of retaliation or guilt. Pay attention to how people react when you assert your independence. Do they respect it, or do they try to regain control? The answer will reveal whether they truly value you or simply want to control you. Throughout this discussion, we have explored different types of concerning behaviors. People who disregard your personal space, those who manipulate you into giving them access to your time and resources, and those who try to control your decisions. Recognizing these red flags is the first step toward protecting yourself. Setting boundaries is not selfish, it is necessary. The right people will respect your limits, while the wrong ones will try to push past them. If someone truly values you, they will not demand unlimited access to your time, resources, or personal choices. They will not pressure you into saying yes when you want to say no, and they will not use guilt or manipulation to get what they want. Healthy relationships are based on mutual respect, where both individuals feel safe expressing their needs without fear of conflict. Your well-being should always come first. Trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. Surround yourself with people who appreciate you for who you are, not just for what you can provide. In the end, protecting your time, energy, and choices is an act of self-respect. But let me ask you this: are you protecting your time and energy? The right people will respect your boundaries, not challenge them. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if this resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful content. See you in the next episode.